guys, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're back in the garage and I got the Sur behind me, and I'm gonna call this video what's stock, what's not. I'm gonna go over a few things, what I kept stock on a bike and what I swapped out in the last year. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so let's talk about the Sur. It's been about a year since I got it. It's got about 500 miles on it, and it's been a blast. I literally, to this day, pretty much ride it every night. I think that's the best part of the bike. It's quiet, it's stealthy, so you can pull it out at night, zip around the neighborhood, and just have a blast on it, and nobody will hear you. And yeah, I think that's the best part about the bike. All right, guys, so let's talk about the few things that I changed on the bike and what I kept stock. So one of the first things that I actually did was get the support brace that goes across the foot pegs. Just gives it a lot more support. It almost makes the bike more agile from side to side when you're standing on those foot pegs. And actually prevents the foot pegs from bending. So I think I waited a few weeks before I got it, and I noticed installing that brace that the pegs, or not the pegs, the foot peg bracket was slightly bent in. But I was able to put the brace in and haven't had any problems with it. But once again, as I say, I do like it. It's just when you're standing on a bike, moving from side to side, it just makes it feel more alive, if that makes sense. It feels nice. It actually, you can feel the difference. Another thing that I did was I went with ProTaper handlebars with the 3-inch riser, which just then brings that seating position up a little higher. Before, actually the bars are hanging up there. It was just a lot lower. It felt like a kid's bike. So I really prefer the seating position like this. And I also ended up getting the ProTaper pad that goes across the bars. It wasn't really a straightforward fit, so you have to do a little cutting around and make it work, but it turned out perfect. What else? The seat. The seat was not a nightmare, but it's just uncomfortable. It's very stiff. If you go for long rides in the mountains, whatever, your butt is hurting, man. So I went with the seat cover, and I've actually done previous videos on it. If you're interested, look for them. And I'll talk about exactly what seat cover this is. What else? Actually, foot pegs, still stock. I know they're not the best, but they do the job, so I just kept them. You know, they're fine. Also kept the 48 tooth stock sprocket, which is plenty power for me. Where I ride, all the trails I've done in the mountains, I couldn't imagine having more torque. The wheel just spins out on me like crazy. So the 48 tooth sprocket is plenty power. So actually originally I thought I was going to change, and I was doing all this research. Do I need a 52, 54, 56? And you know, I've been doing so much riding with this 48 and I'm happy with it, so it's perfect. What else? Oh, actually I added the big fender in front, bigger fender in the back, and once again, trails, rocks are flying everywhere, so I've actually saved my ass having those on, and the back doesn't get as muddy having this on, so it works out. Next thing I did was the Luna bash guard. I believe it's made out of steel. It's heavy duty. The original one was not the best, and actually ended up getting pretty dinged up the first few rides. So this one does the job great. And riding in the mountains, I hear it all the time, just big huge rocks hitting it, and every time I get down I check it and it's perfect. So the bash guard. What's next? Let's see. Oh, okay. The Maxxis rear tire. I actually just upgraded this about 100 miles ago or so, and I kept the stock tire for as long as I could. I rode it in the snow, all over the trails, and the stock tire had about 400 miles on it. It was just getting to the point where the knobs were gone. So I got actually two new Maxxis tires. I did the rear one, and front one is still stock, and I'm just gonna wait to swap it when it's bald, or I'm not gonna do it just to do it. And here's the other Maxxis tire. If you guys want the specs for it, here it is. And also, actually, one more thing that I didn't do is when I swapped out that tire, I thought that, you know what, I'll put in some heavy-duty Michelin tubes. But after swapping this tire, I noticed how good those actual stock Sur-Ron tubes were. So the 2 tubes that I purchased for front and back, I still have them, and I got the stock tubes. Unbelievable. They're doing a great job. I ride some hard, gnarly trails in the mountains, and they really held up. And that goes also for that stock tire. It's still in great shape, so I'm just gonna leave it. What's next? Okay, one thing that I want to talk about is the brakes. I was actually getting ready to order the new brake pads as soon as I got the bike. Just from watching other people's videos and reading the forums that the stock brakes are shit, whatever, they're not that good. So a year later and 500 miles on a bike and still stock front and rear brakes, and they're doing good, you know. I'm not one just to swap things out just to do it, you know. I'm always on a tight budget, and to replace things that I don't need is silly to me. So it's on the list, but they're still doing good. They're still braking strong. So yeah, overall the bike is amazing. No regrets about getting the bike. It's been super fun. Either if it's just riding around the neighborhood or going on crazy trails or pulling it on in the winter time or any season, any time of day, whatever you're doing, any type of trail, this thing can pretty much handle it all. And I've done a lot of big mountain trails, and you guys would be surprised how many big gas bikes like KTMs and whatnot and Yamaha and Hondas I end up passing up on with this Sur-Ron. Vice versa, either climbing or descending because of its lightweight, you know what I mean? It's unbelievable. And actually, all the trails I go, people want to stop, ask questions, take pictures, and everybody loves the bike. That's one thing, actually, when you're riding, it's everyone you pass by, more than likely they're going to want you to stop and say something about the bike, because it's a fun machine, guys. So some of the things that small things that I've done to the bike was just remove all the sensors, the brake sensors, and actually the one that I actually kept on here was the tip over one where it cuts off the motor. So that's the only one that's still left, and I don't have a problem with that. If I fall or whatnot, which have happened to me a few times, it just gives me enough time to pick up the bike, compose myself, and flip the switch to get it back on and off. So it's not a problem. Also, one thing I want to mention is the battery range. I mean, the crazy rides that I go on, and I spend about maybe 3 hours on a trail, is more than enough for me. When I get done riding, I have about maybe 30% battery left. So I've never been in the situation I'm like, oh, I want to ride more, or am I going to run out of juice? It's, for me, if you watch my videos for what kind of riding I do, it's more than enough juice. The thing's a beast, so yeah. So one thing I also want to talk about is the front and rear shock. Also stock, and they do the job. They're not the best, but I don't have any complaints. I have a ton of fun, and they do the job, so I'm not going to spend a ton of money on replacing that. I think the way the bike is, it's going to stay in this formation for a long time. So if you're in the market for this bike and you're like, should I not? Am I going to need it? Is it going to be fun? Like I was, man, going year strong, and almost every night I hop on this thing, and as soon as you give it gas and feel the force, it's like smile ear to ear. Just a fun bike. One more thing I want to add about the bike is that all these things that I've done to it is completely unnecessary. I probably could have kept the bars the way they were, the seat. It's just a few little things to make the bike a little bit more comfortable, but was not necessary by no means. So if you want to pick up this bike and just ride it the way it is, you're gonna have a blast. So for reference, I'm 5'11", and I weigh 185 pounds, and I feel like the bike is perfect. So I hope that helps. Yeah, so I hope this video helped if you were thinking about picking this up. If it did, do me a favor, maybe give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if the video sucked. Maybe subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.